one, and the race is off. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, or good morning. Welcome to the second week of Metroid Construction Olympic Games. This is the second event, Super Metroid Legacy, and as you see, everybody is starting off with Ceres. So, Legacy was a hack that was created back in 2006. This is one of the really early hacks, but it has stood the test of time fairly well. Now, as far as the route goes, from the last week, a lot of the runners have been taking a couple of different routes, so we're going to see some deviation here. As this is a Super Metroid hack, it can be pretty brutal at times. You see everybody getting through Ridley, no problem. In the escape sequence. Bets on finishing time, anyone? So it looks like that Saffron is ahead right now. Only not by much. MST just behind him. We would have had another commentator, but unfortunately, life does happen sometimes, so we have to make do. So once again, Saffron is out of Ceres, MST, Nodifer, and Pikmin. Right now it's pretty neck and neck. So now everyone's landed on Zebus. So the first objective now is, much like a traditional Metroid game, it's a mad dash for Morph Ball, missiles, and then for bombs. So we'll see how this pans out. Let's see, MST having... There we go, MST making use of something called Moonfall, where if you... I don't specifically remember the exact details, but it involves enabling a special feature in the game called Moonwalk. And if you set it up in such a way, you have no cap on your fall speed, so you will just... Your fall speed will just continue to gain and gain and gain. And that can come into play in a few places, that tower being one of them. I think we'll see an example of that in... when the runners come up towards Kraid, perhaps? We'll see. There's not many applications for it, but it's we'll see how the runners can make use of it, or how MST can make use of it. So everyone's now got Morph Ball, everybody making their way towards missiles. The Saffron's still ahead. Pikmin not too far behind, can still very easily pull ahead. Also picking up this E-Tank. E-Tanks in this hack are going to be really important. So, this will come into play towards the end of the hack. So when you fight Mother Brain, usually you'll only need 3 energy tanks to survive the Hyper Beam. Instead, because the runners will be skipping gravity, Varia, my mistake. Because they'll be skipping Varia suit, the Hyper Beam will now deal 6 tanks of damage, so there is going to be a couple more E-tanks they'll need to pick up along the way. And any additional E-tanks that they're going to collect are going to be a bit out of the way. So we'll see how that one pans out. Whether backup E-tanks will be picked up, or whether the runners will go, as I guess as they would put it, balls to the wall. Saffron now making his way up to the bomb Torizo room, now having to farm off the bugs for some extra missiles. This is kind of needed with how few missiles we have at this point. Eternize Dragon. Significantly ahead. Nice. We'll see how Saffron handles Bomb Torizo. No problem whatsoever. MST starting the fight. Pikmin and Nodiva are just about to start theirs. MST struggling with some of these drops. With Bomb Torizo, you kind of want to avoid taking damage, as you see, they're farming the orbs that the Torizo shoots out. If you are on full health, these will always be missile drops. However, if you do take damage, the likelihood of missiles showing up, it plummets. Like you're lucky to get 1, maybe 2 drops. See, it looks like MST is having a bit of trouble with Alcatraz. Never mind, there he is. Straight out. Safi electing to take the hidden missile tank. MST picking up that hidden missile too. It looks like everybody is opting for that missile tank. Saffron heading into Spore Spawn with the increased height platform. The platform has been slightly raised up, so you can no longer crouch. You have to use Mothball to get underneath, and the Samus Eater right in the middle. Looks like Safi only got a 3 round for this first one. Tried for a 4, but was just a little too short. Oh, nice. You got a 5 round in that one. I think that's the first time I've ever seen a 5 round. There we go. Safi has just beaten Spore Spawn, whilst everybody has just started their own Spore Spawn fight. Let's see, Safi opting for another hidden missile tank, which I almost forgot existed. Didn't get hit with the spikes either, that's nice. To pick up Wave Beam, that'll be handy for later. So, looks like Nodiva is... Energy's looking pretty low, or lower than usual, it seems. Spore Spawn seems to be giving Pikmin some trouble too. Yeah, Safi just seems to be pulling ahead right now, whilst everybody else is near neck and neck with each other. But this is a Super Metroid. This is Super Metroid, so this could change A single death could change everything. Yeah, Nodova are also picking up the other missile tank, along with Pikmin. MST just got nabbed by the spikes. I'm not exactly sure how precise it is to get past that, but yeah. It looks like Nodova is electing to skip Wave Beam for now and go pick up the super missiles first, which Safi has just picked up. So I will imagine that Saffron will next head off into Green Brinstar to go pick up Speed Booster, which will come into play. It does have its use throughout the route, but it won't really come into play, and it won't really be required until getting to Torian, which is blocked off by a speed booster barrier. Other than that, it will serve mostly for movement. To which, yes, that is correct, Crazy Driver. I am the only commentator. We would have had others, but unfortunately, life happens sometimes. Sorry, digression. But, yeah, when it comes to Shine Sparks to this hack, these runners will need to pay very close attention to their health, as there's a lot of sparks that require a fair chunk of energy, and if they don't have that energy, it could wind them up in a spot of trouble. So Safi making his way, just got into Green Brinstar, everybody else just heading back out. Imagine, well, Safi, yeah, Safi is heading straight for the secret high jump boots, which aren't that well telegraphed, that well. It's not easy to read that, hey, this is a secret, but it is there. Okay, so MST making another use of that moonfall that I tried explaining earlier. Oh, yikes. Nodova getting grabbed by that yapping maw. Liquids and yapping maws do not get along very well. Let's see how Safi does with this giant side hopper room, as you need to kill those two in order to open up that door. You see right now. Gets through it, no problem. Did take a single hit, but one hit isn't the end of the world. There will be an E-tank up and coming, and from this point there aren't really that many enemies that can do too much damage. It's making sure you don't take too much from the giant side hoppers altogether. Pikmin, who's just picked up high jump. MMST also picked it up not too long ago, whilst MST is making his way to charge. Ooh. Saffron almost smoothly made it through that zigzag, just clipped that last block at the very last moment. Also opting for another missile tank. I'm wondering if there's a strategy change that I'm not aware of. Or if it's purely for marathon safety, perhaps. MST just made his way through the giant side hopper room. Pikmin just starting to go through that room as well. We have Nodova just before that room. Let's see which of these Shine Sparks Saffron can get. Okay. Didn't quite get this first spark. It looked as if he wasn't going for a spark though. It looked more like... There we go, he's got the spark ready. Oh! Just a little too close to that platform. And there we go, second try, easy every time. And it looks like Pikmin just fell into one of the little pits, which isn't too big of a deal. But obviously it's the case of getting back out, and there are, I believe there are crumble blocks at the bottom of each of those little pits. He's electing to take this energy refill, which, considering the health he was on, is probably a smart move. Nodova making his way to the Key Hunters, whilst Saffron is exiting out of Green Brinstar. But yeah, this jumping section giving MST a bit of trouble here. Still gets it though, picks up speed booster. With Nodova right behind him. Let's see if MST gets this spark as well. Speaking of sparks, ooh, just a little. Safi didn't give enough speed for. Still gets it nonetheless. Ooh, there's an interesting way that MST does his spark. Instead of using a visual cue with the flowers at the bottom, going a bit, getting pretty daring with. So the next step now is, this is where the sequence gets a bit out of place. So we're gonna head and go grab power bombs now, but in order to do so we need to do a green gate glitch, and we need to do it underwater, so resets at this point are very, very likely. There we go, Saffron gets the spark, does not hit any of the yapping moors. It looks like Nodova didn't get the spark. Saffron gets the gate glitch first try. That's going to save a lot of time. If memory serves, I think Asda may have mentioned this, but it costs approximately 1 minute, or 1:20 something, for every reset, if you fail the gate glitch. However, someone's more than welcome to correct me on that, but let alone just the time loss, it's also very, it gets a bit frustrating. MST making his way out of Green Brinstar, back to the surface. Whilst Nodova and Pikmin neck and neck trying to get out of Brinstar. Looks like Nodova's opting to farm off of these bugs. Interesting. Getting super drops, perhaps? Let's see if MST gets the spark up this blue tower. Yep, gets it easy. Seems to be a lot more confident with his shine sparks. Ah, I see now why Nodova was opting to farm some supers. He is taking a different route and heading for wrecked ship first. So, whilst these other runners are likely going to be heading straight for Kraid, Ridley, and then do Phantom later. But I guess one benefit of doing Phantom first is that come towards the gate glitch, you can pick up an extra pack of super missiles to make the gate glitch a little bit easier on oneself. Instead of having to reset every 5 supers, you can reset every 10. Yeah, MST is nailing all of these shine sparks. Let's see how he fares with the gate, the dreaded gate. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah. So that looks like our first reset. Whilst Saffron still way ahead of everybody, heading straight for Kraid. Whilst Nodova is still tackling Phantom, which has a little less health in this hack, so it's now fairly easy to one-cycle Phantom in this hack. Whilst Kraid is kind of the opposite in that he's now almost impossible to do a quick kill on, as his health, I think, is double. So it makes trying to do any quick kill nigh impossible, if not because of the increased health, but because of the resources that these players have at this point. Pikmin getting the gate glitch first try again as well. Very well done. It looks like that gate is still giving MST trouble. Let's hope this doesn't discourage him, but Nodova has taken down Phantom, so that'll be boss number 1 for him. Pikmin is in a bit of a pickle right now, sitting on 6 health. It means that this next room, you cannot afford to get hit, and I see he's playing it very safe. I don't blame him for it. Ooh. Saffron just barely missed a super missile on Kraid. Luckily, let's hope that isn't too big of a deal. All the while, Saffron does have to be careful of Kraid's flying nails, as their damage has been drastically increased. So a single hit deals about, I think it's 1 full energy tank's worth of damage. That still takes out Kraid, not a problem. Pikmin opting to take a safety save. Very, very smart, considering if he goes straight for... he is not electing straight for the side hopper room, he's going to take a backup energy tank. But it will require going through this strange water boulder room, which contains an energy tank and a missile tank as well. However, whether he will take the missile tank, I'm not sure. We'll see. now that Saffron has Gravity Suit, there's a couple places you can go. You might opt to go for Ridley first, or could go for Dragon. But I believe it is much faster to opt for Ridley first and then head straight for Dragon. But it looks like MST has finally gotten past the green gate. That's yeah, that deserves a PogChamp. Nodiver now heading back up to the surface to finally tackle that gate. Meanwhile, Saffron taking a secret passage through in Norfair to go pick up Ice Beam, which will be necessary later on for Torian to deal with the Metroids, but also to have a small damage boost, as instead of having to do, I think it's, I'm not sure on the exact math, but ice does increase the damage of the beam. Looks like Nodiver might be having trouble with this. No, he's opting to just simply climb the tower. Okay. I believe he might still have enough energy to do the Shine Spark, but who knows? So Saffron heading down to Norfair to go take out Ridley. Now that we have power bombs in order to get in. MST just leaving the power bomb room, with Pikmin just ahead of him. Imagine the Pikmin is waiting for the Edcoons to go pick up an extra item, perhaps? Whilst MST elects to ignore the Edcoons and just head straight for Lower Norfair. Or head straight for Crate, sorry. No, yeah, need Gravity Suit first. Safi got the Mock Ball. If you do miss that Mock Ball that Safi just did, you can use 2 missiles to destroy those barriers. And now he picks up Spacer. Again, Spacer damage output, because up next is Ridley. And Ridley is fun. Now, intentionally, you're supposed to go here with Space Jump, but Safi's going to do something called a Gravity Jump. So he's going to disable gravity whilst in the lava, and that will preserve... It does some funky things, but it allows the player to jump extremely high whilst in liquid. Electing to take the safety save as well. Again, I don't blame him. Lower Norfair can be very brutal, regardless of how much health you have. It looks like Nodiver is having problems with the gate. Oh dear. Gets the last one. That's still okay. There is an alternate exit that Nodiver can take. So instead of taking the super missile route down where the Etcoons are, he can use a power bomb to get back to where the mothball area is in Blueprint Star and head to Crate that way. However, he will still need to farm for supers. Or eventually will need to farm for supers. So MST just woke up Kraid about go say hello, whilst Pikmin is still trying to get up there. Just got up, no problem. Ooh, yikes. I turned my head away from Saffron's stream for a brief moment and wonder what happened. He must have fell through the floor or something. And that unfortunately cost him. But, luckily he did save by the lower north entrance. So not too much was lost. Oliver is picking up the same energy tank that Pikmin picked up earlier. Whilst MST still with Kraid, no problem. Picking up gravity. Now about to head off to lower north air to go slap us a space pelican. That is Ridley. Pikmin is also just taking down Kraid, not a problem. And nice. Notova getting a super missile drop off one of those Zeelas, the googly eye enemies, as MST likes to call them. Yeah, let's see if Saffron is now electing to skip the speed boost section. There's a little. But there's a couple of speed booster blocks within that acid. If you do a very, very short speed boost, you can actually break through all of that, and it also means you take no damage from the fire orbs either. He's taking another safety save as well. As I said, lower north air can be really brutal when it wants to. Dear, that looks like another death. Yeah. Luckily for Saffron, most of the worst part of lower north air is nearly done. There's a couple more pirates. There's this room that he's in. There's another pirate room straight after, and then it's Ninja Pirates. Ninja Pirates are really easy. Not much about them has changed. Oh dear. There we go. Safi is now pretty much in the clear now. Up until Ridley, perhaps. We'll see how much trouble Ridley gives him. Meanwhile, Nodova making his way over to go fight Kraid. Ooh. Saffron just missing one of those super missiles, bouncing right off. Looked as if that should have connected, but yeah. Now that those pirates are out of the way, Saffron has got a chance to refill some of that lost health, which is really helpful against these red key hunters, as they do 50 damage if they touch you. Up next now is on Safi's screen. We now have Golden Threezo, which is a bit of a joke. So, same rule applies. Stand in the safe spot and just wail with charge shots. Or it looks like Safi. Oh, Safi is opting to do a bit of a refill here. Meanwhile, MST just picking up Spazer, about to make his way inside Lower Norfair, about to attempt the gravity jump. While Snowdiver just about to enter Kraid, about to wake him up. Again, we've got Pikmin taking a slightly different route, a bit of a detour, perhaps to pick up some extra energy. Looks like there are a couple of energy tanks that can be picked up on the eastern side of Norfair. One of them is nearby Crocomire, and another one is behind this power bomb door. Safi just dealing with GT, picking up Screw Attack. Doesn't need the energy refill. He's got plenty of health, and there'll be quite the opportunity to refill on health. There's a couple more Ninja Pirates along the way, and there's also some refill bugs just before Ridley. See how MST fares with the first section of Lower Norfair. First part of it seems to be going pretty alright. Let's see if he gets the short charge. That's nice. Right, and Safi about to make his way over to Ridley. Just do a quick refill on his supers, so now he's in good shape. The arena for Ridley is a little different. Notice that the second set of pillars from the left there's only a short space that you can stand in them as the acid rises and lowers. But other than that, Ridley fight is near enough the same. Just shoot at it until it dies. It looks like MST has gotten through the worst part of Lower Norfair right now. Be able to refill off the Ninja Pirates, picking up the extra super tank. Whilst Pikmin has just taken out Crocky, Rip Crocomire. With Nodiver picking up Gravity from Kraid and heading off to Lower Norfair as well, very likely. Yeah, Safi seems to be doing really good against it with this Ridley fight so far. MST just about to start the Chorizo fight, opting not to take a refill. Perhaps feels pretty confident. Oh, there he goes, he's using up the supers. Gold Chorizo doesn't change much, you can still, it still grabs your supers and still reflects them, but just speeds things up just a little bit. Saffron just taking out Ridley, first try. No problem. Yeah. MST will need to find a spot to refill his supers at some point. Meanwhile, Nodiver going off to pick up Ice Beam. Pikmin heading off to Lower Norfair, the entrance to that. 5 supers, that's fairly alright for MST. Plus, you will have a chance to refill these supers in this room, as the rippers, the red ones, have a guaranteed super drop if you're not max, or if it's not guaranteed, it's near enough guaranteed. Once you are full, you get some nice health. You get some nice big health drops. So you see, MST is taking a secret passage that Saffron elected not to go grab, to go to even. There's another super missile tank down here, which will help a lot with Ridley, as Ridley takes double damage from super missiles, and charged Space of Wave Ice does the exact same amount of damage as a super missile. So naturally, the more supers you have for Ridley, the better. You see, Pikmin got gravity jump, no problem. MST about to deal with these ninja pirates. Some graphical funkiness going on MST's end. I think that might be the result of... I'm wondering if that's to do with either the ninja pirates deflecting it, or if that's to do with reflex, which are the two little objects you see in the corners of those rooms. They're sort of an unused object or unused enemy in Super Metroid, where if you shoot them, then they, as their name implies, reflect Samus's projectiles, be they beam or missiles. And it hurts. It hurts when you start getting the more powerful beams. Saffron grabbing another missile tank and a very nice Shine Spark to speed up that room. Nodova getting the gravity jump too, that's nice. Minus the trouble that MST was having with the gate glitch, this has been a fairly smooth race so far. So Ridley is giving MST some trouble here, it looks like. Also looks like Nodova missed a potential speed boost or Shine Spark, so is now electing to just use a power bomb. That's one way to go about it. Saffron just entering Phantom. The only difference with Saffron taking on Phantom is that Saffron can't necessarily use Charge Beam, as a charge shot will immediately cause Phantom to run off. But let's see. Okay, so it's a fairly nice, fairly good cycle there. There we go. Safi's just taking out Phantom, no problem. Didn't have to wait for another cycle. And it looks like MST is in a spot of trouble with Ridley. Doesn't know if his... Oh dear. Ooh. That's nasty. And it looks like, as a result, MST has decided to drop out of the race. That was really unfortunate. That was really unfortunate indeed. So now it is... Oop. Technical hiccup. So it looks like it's down to just the 3 runners now, which is Saffron, who is heading out of Wrecked Ship and into Meridia. And we've got Pikmin and Nodiva making their way through Lower Norfair to avenge MST. So Pikmin has gone through the worst of Lower Norfair, picking up another big missile tank. Nodiva making his way through the Acid Room, which is... If that little lava monster at the bottom decides to poke his head out when you go through that room, yeah, fun times await. Nodiva electing to also skip having to do that speed booster. It is a very tight window to do it. Looks like this tower, this, I guess, worst room in the game, is giving Nodiva a bit of trouble, it seems. But electing not to take the safety save. Or second thoughts, perhaps? No, he's electing to refill off of the violas, that's what it is. Or... This section is giving him a bit of trouble, it seems. Meanwhile, Pikmin has got Terizo right where he wants him to be. Unfortunately, as it stands, Nodiva can only really afford to take 1 hit from just about any source of damage, as the fire shooters on the end, on the walls. I forget if it's the Names or the Funes. I forget which one is which, but the fireballs do 50 damage. Pirates do 50 damage contact. Their projectiles do 50 damage. Yeah, Nodiva is in a bit of a rough state right now. Let's hope he can get through these couple of rooms, because afterwards the Ninja Pirates gives him a very good opportunity to get that lost health back and get a few extra resources along the way. See Pikmin taking the secret for the supers as well. Interesting. While Saffron to cook a giant shrimp called Dragon. That is just enough ammo to take out Dragon for Saffron. That's very nice indeed. And that might be the last energy tank that Saffron will be... But that is the last energy tank that Saffron needs to finish the game. Whether he'll pick up any more, I guess we'll find out. But it does mean that there is no margin for error at the Mother Brain fight. Ooh. It looks like Nodova had finally fallen to lower Norfair after all of the refilling, all of the setting up. Lower Norfair was just having none of it. Looks like Pikmin is just taking a small chance to refill off of these bugs. They have a fairly good chance to drop big energy, and they've got a good chance of dropping supers as well. So it looks like Pikmin should be pretty set to take on Ridley. Whilst Saffron passing by once again everybody's best friend, that green gate, taking a safety save of the ship just to get those super missiles back, I'd imagine. As now it's pretty much a bolt straight to Torian. Interesting here, seeing we saw it also on MST stream, but Pikmin is using power bombs against Ridley here. Now, whilst power bombs don't do an awful lot of, they do a fair chunk of damage, but they are a little slower to, the damage per second is a little slower, but Ridley also tries to flee from the explosion as well. Pikmin is still doing fairly alright against Ridley. Still got a good chunk of health, still has the supers. Meanwhile, Saffron finding ways to pass the time with the statues. Meanwhile, Nodova trying to tackle this acid room once more. Looks like they're farming for they're farming for energy, a little bit of energy. Every little bit helps with lower Norfair. Saffron finally into Torian. So this is one of the other rooms that we needed speed booster for, outside of a couple barriers we saw in Criteria. Those barriers are speed booster blocks. Crazy Drive was saying that MST was so far ahead of everyone and then Ridley destroyed him. He was ahead of Pikmin and Nodova, however, Saffron has been, since the start of the race, pretty much ahead of everybody. But yeah, MST, I think, would have definitely made second with the speed that he was going. Just Ridley just was having none of it. I don't believe that Ridley's health had been buffed in this Crazy. I think the change in terrain can make a difference, but I believe Ridley's stats are pretty much unchanged. The big difference is a lot of players are really used to going into that fight with plasma, wave, ice, pretty much as much firepower as they can get. Perhaps that could be an illusion of Ridley feeling a bit more buff than usual. It looks like Saffron electing not to do baby skip. Instead, choosing to self-damage and then... which is fine, as there is an energy refill right next... oh dear. Right next to the Metroid room, and that's another death from Nodiva. Once again, these fire shooters just... Lower Norfair is just being evil today. Luckily, Pikmin has managed to get out of Lower Norfair, so his next goal is straight to Meridia. And then he'll be able to take on the brain as well. Let's see if Saffron can get the Zebetite skip. Okay, so Saffron did manage to get enough energy off those Metroids. He did miss a chance to detach them. Oh, nice. Shine Spark Zeb skip instead of the traditional freeze the Rinker below and then clip into it. It does mean that you don't have to turn off Screw Attack. But with the distance that you need to cover, it's a bit... It's tricky. It's tricky, to say the least. Yes, luckily Saffron did get those energy drops off the Metroid, as there is no room for error with this fight. If he takes a single hit, he might be able to take a hit from the bombs. That bomb you see there with the Mother Brain drop, he might be able to take one of those. But if he takes the full hit from those blue rings, or if he gets hit by what the community collectively call the ketchup beam, it means a reset. Meanwhile, Pikmin heading over to the wrecked ship. No deal with Phantoon via a backdoor from Norfair. Nodiva take 3 back through the acid room, no problem. Pirate's giving him a little bit of trouble, it seems. Ooh. See the chat giving Saffron some support, some energy, it seems. Yeah. I know Nodiva can certainly do with some energy too, is from the chat. Oh dear. That is another death from what I like to think is the worst room in the game. But Saffron is now pretty much home free. Nodiva is still powering on. I have to commend that. Still got the determination to finish this. Pikmin making very easy work out of Phantoon. See Pikmin also electing to take the super missile tank right next to Phantom. Again, more super. Despite supers aren't as needed at this point, they can still be pretty useful in the sense of being able to do just a little bit more damage towards Mother Brain. So, Saffron making his way to the escape. There's not really much to say about the escape, other than that there are two very cool shine sparks that can be done here. The first one, Saffron trying to set up for, taking his time, which is fine. And oh, nice, doing the daring, the sick behemoth spark. And there is another spark, which is just another shine spark up the blue tower. Yeah, that series of blue platforms can be very confusing. You see Saffron trying to figure out where he has to be in order to get out of Torian. Looks like he's also having some trouble with this shine spark too, but still gets it nonetheless. Meanwhile, Pikmin about to make his way into Meridia, and Nodova still powering on through Lower Norfair for as much smack as the place has given him. And that means Saffron has finished, and he has come in first place with a time of 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 45 seconds. And that makes him the winner of this week's race. Now, I know. He toiled with 1 minute. I'm not sure if that was me just typoing, but yes. So that means that he is going to get a fairly good score when our tech crew will do the math. But the scoring in this Olympics is there's up to 25 points up for grabs. There is 5 for attending and starting the race. There is 5 for finishing the race. And then there is 15 points up for grabs depending on how close you are to the fast time that is set by each event. In this case, the fast time for this event, Legacy, is 1 hour. So if you get under 1 hour, you get the full 15 points. From then on, those 15 points will slowly begin to diminish until you reach the slow time, which in that case, it's purely just a race to the finish to get that extra 5 points. Oh dear, this room is still giving Nodova trouble. Oh dear, oh dear. I'm on the edge of... oh no. Again with these... Why do those fire shooters exist? Meanwhile, Pikmin electing to take a safety refill and a safety save as well. Maybe perhaps doesn't quite have as much confidence in Dragon as some of the other runners, but this is a race environment. Safety saving is really important. If you don't feel comfortable with a section of the game, it is worth taking a safety save. Saffron getting the Deer Force. Here we go. Just barely running out of ammo with that the final charge shot. Put the nail in Dragon's coffin for Pikmin. So that means he can now head straight to Torian and end this. Finish the brain off. Alright, Notifer, you got this. Yeah. Another annoying part of this room, which you've probably seen a bit on Notifer's side, is that all of those heads, they're not solid blocks. You can actually end up inside them, and it means you have to redo the wall jump all over again. Just one final part. There we go, he's got up, but it does now mean that he cannot afford to take a hit from these ninja pirates. Meanwhile, Pikmin saying goodbye to the gate, to the green gate. Lydia, take a safety save at the ship, head to Torian, and call it a day.
Surrender, we stick together and we're never gonna fall. We'll brave the weather.
So, seeing as there's not much going on at the moment, with Pikmin heading towards, waiting for the statues to lower into Torian, and Notifer still powering on through Lower North, I guess it'll give me a chance to let everyone know that next month the event will be Metroid Rogue Dawn, which is a Nestroid hack that was created by Grimlock, was it? I'm gonna feel like an idiot if I got this wrong. Yeah, which is fairly impressive Nestroid hack, which I would suggest people give a chance to play. But, that will be the next event. Will also be any percent, so the idea will be go fight the big bad, do it as quick as possible. Now that the statues are out of the way, with Pikmin making his way into Torian. Gotta say hi to all these Metroids. Come on, Nodiva, you got this. See, Pikmin electing to do the old-fashioned method of detaching Metroids by strafing from side to side with Morph Ball and then use bombs. There was another method that we did see used by Saffron, in which if you plant a bomb in the air whilst you're falling, and you can I don't remember when this first came to light. I first saw this when Asda was doing redesign speedrun attempts instead using gravity to detach the Metroids rather than moving from side to side. So I guess it might boil down to preference, which a runner feels more comfortable doing to detach a Metroid. But there we go. Nodiva has finally gotten past the worst part of Lower Norfair. That, my friends, is some determination after all of that heartache, all that trouble that Lower Norfair was given, and electing to electing to save. Looks like Pikmin didn't get the baby skip, or was electing not to. There we go. Nodiva has finally got the Torizo pinned into a corner, giving Node a little bit of trouble initially, but now he's got him right where he wants him. Uh-oh. A couple of those Metroids have just grabbed Pikmin. Let's see if we can get him off. Okay, he's got him off, that's fine. Otherwise it may have meant having to backtrack all the way to the refill room. Oh dear, it looks... Ooh, looks like Pikmin might be having a bit of trouble with his Zeb skip. But... There we go, he's finally got past the Zeb. Meanwhile, Nodiva just dealing with Torizo, picking up Screw Attack. opting to take advantage of these rippers to go grab some nice big health drops. As I mentioned earlier, if you're not full on supers, the rippers do love to drop big energy. Meanwhile, Pikmin just woke up the brain and not only has a lot of leeway to do this, but also has a chance for something called the stand-up glitch, which only works if you don't have... if you have more than 6 energy tanks. So, if I remember how this works, it's... brain getting a little close to Pikmin there at the moment. The way that stand-up glitch works is you need to have over 100 energy, and you need to have various soup turned off. 100 energy after the hyper beam, so that means you need 7 energy tanks to do this. So once you take the hyper beam, if you have over 100 health, then for some reason you can still stand back up, and then you can do a bit of self damage to force Mother Brain to think, okay, I can kill you off with a hyper beam now, and trigger all the Metroid shenanigans. However, you do have to be very careful, because it can very potentially crash if you're still attacking Mother Brain. Looks like Pikmin is pretty much finished with the brain fight. Done the hard part. Let's see if he chooses to go for stand-up. Yep, he's going for stand-up. You just have to be careful because you do not have invincibility frames against Mother Brain, so you can just... as much as the base contact damage isn't much, it adds up. It really adds up. Meanwhile, Nodiva doing a little bit of farming for some extra health to go take on Ridley. As MSD just said in chat, watch this pro do Ridley first try. Could not put it better. There we go, Pikmin has done everything necessary for the stand-up glitch. Taking a quick look at the race channel, it looks as if Krokemeyer has just finished in second place with 1 hour and 18 minutes and 54 seconds. Nicely done. So that is our second runner done of our... it's 6 entries. Yeah, out of our 7 runners, it looks like. However, a couple of them look as if they forfeited. So we've got Kazuto, who has forfeited. We have Connor, who has also forfeited. And we have MST, who has also forfeited. So it is now just down between Nodiva and Pikmin, really. Speaking of, Pikmin has just taken out the brain, about to do the escape as well. Let's see if we can get these cool sparks. Oh, okay, looks like we're not going for the first one. Oh dear, it looks as if Ridley is giving Nodiva some trouble here. Yeah, MST with Ridley is, yeah. Ridley is awful, Acid is awful, but it's nice to see that Nodova is still powering through this. Luckily, if I remember, did he take safety save? Yes, he did take the safety save, so it means that you'll have to go back through Gold Torizo. But luckily does not have to do the awful part of Lower Norfair again. With Pikmin, getting the second spark, no problem, it's a nice easy one. And that is time for Pikmin. Finishing in third place with a time of 1:22:03. Congratulations, my friend. So now it is just down to Nodova, determined to finish this game. An in-game time of spot on 1 hour. Nodova has once again taken out the Torizo. It's a trivial fight once you get the setup. If Nodova knows that there's an energy refill just above Screw Attack. Perhaps not. Either way, there is plenty of chances to be able to refill up on health and resources through the Ninja Pirates, the bugs just before Ridley. So it's not the absolute end of the world to not notice that there is an energy refill. First Ninja Pirate down, no problem. Up to 2, no problem. Now it is a simple case of refilling all them supers, all that health. And then we go tell Ridley to go do one. 2. Let's go. Something I should have mentioned, actually. Notice all the runners are, whenever they're going to try damage Ridley when he's doing his pogo attack, they're typically trying to do it when they are sitting on the left side, as for... I'm not sure what reason. Ridley's hitbox doesn't seem to want to go all the way to the left wall, but if you try to do it on the right side, you're almost guaranteed to get hit. When going for the pogo attack, if you can bait him into the left wall, get him to face left, you just wail on him as long as you want until he stops doing it, or until he decides to be a jerk and turn around. There you go. Ridley has started changing color, which means that I think if all of these supers connect, Ridley should be within kill range. But yikes. What about just getting poked? Took some convincing to get Terizo into the corner, but eventually did.
Oh, greetings.
Oh, hello. I was about to mention that seeing as if we want to try and fill some time in, we'll get some of the other runners who have either forfeited or have finished.
I mean, there's only been one forfeit.
Well, one on the stream. We've had 2 others within the race channel.
Well, that... I guess, yes. You're not wrong.
No, I don't think RaceBot lies.
I mean,
Yeah,
they were simply using the mechanics of Big Scorn to get some points.
the bug exploit mechanics.
Very much so.
Yeah, that lower Norfair looked pretty brutal. Along with
Lower Norfair in this
game
run.
glitching.
Not great.
No.
And I don't know if you noticed, but did you see which energy tank node skipped? Because he's down and he picked up the safety tank and he's still at regular energy tanks, so he missed one somewhere.
If I remember correctly, unless the route has changed since Desi's world record run, Desi goes into this with only 4 energy tanks, so
It's definitely changed since then.
I know Asda now holds the record, but it's a little rusty on the...
Oh, wow, I think his game crashed. That's...
Yeah,
interesting.
I'm not sure what happened there.
That was a game crash.
Yeah. Interesting. I think that's the first one we've had through this event.
That bug was not having it.
Yikes. Yikes indeed. So, I guess outside of Lower Norfair and outside of the gig glitch, how do you feel after this run?
Actually, everything was trash. I meant to practice, and I didn't actually do any practice this week. And my whole goal was to just go for it. So, only the save before the gate. That was the only planned one. I couldn't wall jump. I struggled with that. I ended up with doing half of Spore Spawn's damage in one round, and I still 5-rounded. That was pretty spectacular. And then suddenly Lower Norfair went perfect up until the Gold Pirates before with the reflex of the room. It went. I cannot believe I got the quicker Shine Spark, the more dangerous one. I just went for it. Managed to get that into the acid. And then the speed through the next room. So everything there went perfect. So I felt great. And then I grabbed the safety super, and I still died to Ridley anyways. Whatever.
Yeah, this is Lower Norfair is the exact reason why I cannot stand Lower Norfair in this game at all.
It's just the way the route to actually go fast is. It just sucks that it's the second end. Like this is what you will be doing really quick, and you're not. You don't have the safety of Varia for some things. So the lava dive you do, it's heat and lava.
Yeah.
You're already low on energy, and you're going to be losing energy up a certain point when you get to the worst room in the game.
Yeah. The one
that's all.
Being noted for a lot of trouble.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential struggle points in this run, specifically in Lower Norfair. The nice thing is afterward it's pretty free.
Yeah.
Until Mother Brain, but
once you pardon me, once you get the gate glitch, like that's a potential roadblock.
Yes.
And then once you get yeah. And the other roadblock is Lower Norfair.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, I hope that Rogue Dawn will be a little nicer to you.
Oh, I have a feeling it will be a lot nicer.
in the coming months.
I'm a little more polished at that game.
I believe Metroid is a little more your specialty, right?
Yes. Very much.
Yes. Alright,
There's not as much skill needed, so I'm okay with it.
skill. Right. Well, yeah. As I said, I hope that Rogue Dawn treats you a lot nicer than this. I'm gonna see if we can bring in Pikmin or Safi. Let's do Safi first. Let's bring Safi in. So hello there, Safi.
Oh, hey there.
Hey. So, congratulations on
Thank you.
winning this race. Yeah.
So I got sub hour yesterday, but I screwed up quite a bit. Those 2 deaths were pretty unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it was a really good run otherwise.
Yeah, it was. Say you pretty much ahead of everybody, right from the word go, basically.
Yeah, I have a pretty good amount of SM knowledge, so I'm generally able to be able to pull ahead sometimes, I'd say.
Yeah, as a lot of the stuff you're pulling off there was it shows. It really shows.
Thank you. I try. I mean, I don't really have much.
How do you feel generally about the run?
I'm slightly disappointed in my 2 deaths, but they're not very avoidable, and I can't do anything about it now, so I don't really care that much. I mean, I could have done better, but oh well. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me too much. I mean, I don't really have much to say besides that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Really.
That's fine. So, I guess to see if we can get Pikmin in.
Alright, sounds good.
Get a.
I'm pretty sure he'll have a good amount of stuff to say.
Yes. Well, as I said with MST, I hope that Rogue Dawn will. Wish you the best of luck for Rogue Dawn.
Yeah.
Next month.
That'll be interesting. It's a fun one.
Yes.
Alright, see ya.
Yeah, best of luck, Safi.
Thank you.
Right. Next up. Oh, next up will be Pikmin. So, hello there, Pikmin.
Hello.
To 3rd place. Not bad. Not bad indeed.
Much better than last week's.
Yeah. Last week was pretty interesting. Yeah. How do you feel your run went this week?
Yeah, the first 3 splits was like bad because kind of screwed it up here and there, but the rest of the splits after was pretty impressive.
If I remember correctly, I don't think your run was. I think your run was deathless.
Yep, it was deathless.
Nice.
Definitely a big improvement from yesterday's.
Super Metroid deathless in the same sentence. Yikes. Did I go too far with that one? Yeah. I noticed that Torian was giving you just a little bit of trouble with some of the Metroids, but I think all in all, run was still really good, and for it to be deathless too is also really, really good.
Yeah. I also had to play like really careful around Metroid's fight because
Yeah,
the baby Metroid can be quite specific with how it wants to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, next month obviously will be Rogue Dawn, so I do wish you the best of luck on that one.
Right? It'd be just a Nest hack that I actually did beat because I did not beat Metroid at all.
Oh dear. No, Metroid can be pretty brutal for some people. But luckily, Rogue Dawn does alleviate some of the brutality that Nestroid is.
Yeah.
Right. Well, like I said, I will wish you the best of luck when
Alright.
Rogue Dawn happens.
Alright.
Take care, my friend.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we've got Nodova back again with Ridley. Got it. Still powering his way through this hack. It's pretty insane. But I gotta respect him for it. He's still going at it. Oh dear. Oh. Okay. Looks like I've also just been given the green light to have a little interview with second place Crocomire, so we will bring Crocomire in and... Hello there, Crocomire.
Hi, TAU.
So, second place is pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
Especially for learning the run last night.
So, we might not have seen you on the stream. So, how'd your run go? How did your run go?
It went pretty well up until Ridley, where I died twice, so that put me back a bit. But overall, I think it was a fine run.
Ridley seems to be brutal for this hack. It seems.
Definitely, his platform, or how his room is laid out, makes it really just awkward to move around.
Yeah, true. It really is true. Yeah. So, how are you looking forward to Rogue Dawn next month?
Well, never played or never finished Nestroid like properly, so that's going to be
Okay.
interesting. But hopefully, Rogue Dawn will be a bit less unforgiving than normal Nestroid.
I believe generally it is a lot more forgiving than Nestroid.
All right, I'll hope so.
Well, I do wish you the best of luck for Rogue Dawn when it comes around.
All right, thank you.
And hope it's as fun as it makes it out to be.
So do I.
Let's just hope no flashbacks of Nestroid.
Dies to refill mugs over and over again.
Yikes. Dies to a refill bug that's stuck in a loading transition, so you just get all the freaking time.
Oh no.
No.
Tori and Rinkas in Nestroid.
Don't get me started with Rinkas. Never again. Alright, yeah. I do wish you the best of luck for Rogue Dawn.
Alright.
Alright.
Thanks for commentating.
Yep, and thanks for participating in the race as well.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
Take care, my friend.
You too.
Right. Nodova once again back at Ridley's entrance, giving it another good crack.
All right, you're stuck with me again.
Uh-oh.
So, while we're watching this amazing fight with Ridley, it's a pretty spectacular fight. What's going on? I'm gonna go ahead and bring up the scores that we got today. The right one. So we had 7 total people enter. 2, again, just doing the thing for the starting points. So Kazuto and Connor both started. They forfeit, but they each get the 5 points for starting. There was myself, also a forfeit. So that's 5 total points. So that definitely won't carry over because of my run last week, actually.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm fairly sure you did finish a run yesterday, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
That's why I was going for speed in mine, because I was like,
Yeah.
I have A time. It's not great, but I have A time.
Yeah, something I did not touch on when I was discussing the scoring is that we will always take the highest score from the 2 events, or from the 2 race days. So if you do,
Yes.
say, bomb on the second day, it doesn't matter. We'll take your first race day and
Yep.
use that score instead.
And that's another reason why it might be good to join both race events, both race days.
Yes.
So, as far as the people who have finished to this point, Saffron, who finished in first with 102.45, ended with a time score of 14.961. So you add that plus the 5 start and finish points. He ends this with 24.961 for a score, which is better than his first week. So that will be the score he is taking from this event. The Great Pikmin also starting and finishing and adding his time score of 12.688. So 22.688 for his total score. And then Krokemeyer ending with a time score of 13.264. So carrying 23.264 points out of this event.
Neat.
So, and then as far as everyone else who has finished a run here, yeah, Pikmin places a score last week, but he's definitely carrying this week's over. Because the score last week was a 7.4. So he improved his score by joining the second race. Got an improvement there. Saffron improved his score by, I think, a little more than a full point. Dopey actually scored pretty good. He had a 13.6 last week. Bethers did start last week, so she'll get 5 points off that, if I could speak, out of this event total. And then Andrew
Gets the full
Ju-
25, I believe.
just under. He actually finished with a time of 1 hour 7 seconds. So time score is 14.999. And then Asder, the only one to score a perfect in this event.
Oh, yes, my mistake.
Yeah, and he blew it out of the water with the 56.47. So yeah, we got some scores going. After event 3 finishes, we'll actually start to see kind of everyone's actual scores, because again, with this event, the highest time score and the lowest time score will be dropped. So starting with event 3, we'll be able to start doing that for the runners.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what ends up happening with that. But should be interesting. I imagine there'll be a lot of fluctuation at that point.
Yeah, and I know there will also be a fair amount of fluctuation with the randomizers too.
Oh yeah. We are getting close to the stretch of randos. I believe there is Rogue Dawn, and then Y Faster, and then I believe the Rando Gauntlet starts.
Yeah, the randomizer block.
Yep, it's 3 in a row, and everybody's looking for that.
So remind me of the order again with the randomizers. It's
So
super.
the first will be Zero Mission, because we'll be doing Y Faster beforehand, so it'll go from Super to a different one. So Zero Mission will be first. The Zero Mission Rando, that'll be the settings will be more explained, but I do know for a fact we are using text rando. So whoever's commenting that, good luck trying to see what all pops up on that.
Send help. Hope I don't get demonetized.
There's nothing bad with it, but the descriptions and everything will be wrong.
I mean, I've seen Metroid Prime Google Translate. I'm fine.
So it's not quite that level. But yeah, we start out with the Zero mission rando. Then we'll have the route rando for Super Metroid. So that kind of takes all the vanilla rooms in Super and kind of randomizes a route using those rooms. It's a really interesting rando if you haven't given that a try. It manages to be both vanilla Metroid while changing it up, so that's kind of interesting.
I guess slightly different from a door randomizer, because
Correct. Everything will sort of make sense. The ones I have played have been pretty linear paths over. There's a few branches you can do, but overall they're pretty linear. It's not nearly as confusing as a door rando. And then we will have, after that, the Met randomizer, which is the NES rando, which is very much a world randomizer.
then afterwards I believe we have Decision and Freeze Flame. Or is there
Hyper
another one in the middle
Metroid
I'm missing?
Freeze Flame Decision.
Other way around, okay.
So yeah, we get our other long hack in Hyper Metroid in there right after.
Yes. I also forgot Hyper as well.
And then we'll end with one really quick one in Freeze Flame. I believe Freeze Flame will be the shortest one in there.
Wow, even shorter than Spooky Mission?
I believe so, yes. I actually think Rogue Dawn is even shorter than Spooky.
Interesting.
They're about the same, but I think Rogue Dawn's just a little bit shorter. Freeze Flame should be the shortest, and then Decision, it's not going to be a long one. That should also be a fairly short one.
Yeah. Freeze Flame was originally a contest hack, so naturally it's not going to be as big as the rest. But
Yep. So yeah, we got a lot's coming up here. Node's still taking on Ridley here.
Yep.
So what he's doing, what some of us runners were kind of trying to coach him through this, because he did forget an E-Tank somewhere, but he did forget one. So what he's trying to do with Ridley's health, because he has 20 supers total for his max, so he's using 5 supers sort of at the start, and then just trying to shoot him to get him to change palette. Once Ridley changes palette, that's half his health is gone. That's your visual. And then 15 supers will deal half his total health. So he's kind of keeping those to try and get him to change palette, and then just be able to pummel him with that in the fight.
yes.
So
That's
hopefully,
also hoping that the 15 supers connect.
yes, that is the other thing. Ridley does speed up.
Plus Ridley's tail is really wonky.
Oh, and there's the palette change.
Yep, so it is.
Let's see if. And there's the supers coming out. And yeah, Ridley's. So, and this is something both Saffron and I were talking about. Legacy's Ridley would actually be pretty pathetically easy if his room was left alone. The whole reason this fight is terrible is because the platform in the middle was changed a lot. If it was just a flat surface, see,
Ooh, yikes.
takes another Ridley
That was
death
painful
here.
to look at.
Yeah, if his room was flat, the fight would be much easier. But just because that little bit of change in elevation between all 8 blocks that make up the platform, it completely changes that fight and turns what would be an otherwise fairly easy, straightforward fight into this mess that, it's clearly claiming some lives today.
Watching this, Ridley in Legacy is just giving me nightmares of the community race we had back in 2014.
Yeah, I think back then, I think I went and got plasma beforehand.
Yeah, I don't think any of our runners at all, both on stream and off stream, elected to take plasma, did they?
No. And the reason it's not grabbed in the speedrun is it's way out of the. You have to go fight Dragon, go out of Meridia into Criteria, back into the east side of Meridia, fight
Yeah.
Batwoon, and then go on a path, and then you can get Plasma. Just to go back to Criteria, back to Brinstar, back to Norfair. It's a whole lot of backtracking.
Yeah.
That the route cuts that out entirely.
Yeah.
Obviously makes things a lot more difficult in this section, but for the sake of speed, that's kind of the trade-off. And it is good to see he's gotten very familiar with the safety Gold Chorizo here.
I had no problems with it.
But yeah, he might be dying a lot here, but this is not an easy fight.
No, the fight itself isn't it. But something that I did ask, I was wondering earlier, is does Nodiva know about the energy refill just above Screw Attack?
I believe he does, but there's not much point in taking it. Personally, just because, at least as far as I believe, I'm going to be spending time refilling before anyway, because I want my ammo.
Yeah.
So I might as well save myself the door transitions and the...
I think perhaps my
Refill
thought
message.
process is that less time getting energy drops, more
Yeah,
time
I
getting
mean-
ammo drops.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Preference, perhaps?
It could be. And thankfully the refill bugs before Ridley are not known for dropping 5 energies. When they do drop energy, it's almost always the big one. So
Yeah, they're almost going to... It's the same with the Rippers as well. You'll either get supers or big energy.
yeah, so basically you're weighing potentially 20 to 25 seconds to do the energy refill against maybe getting that much time refilling energy on bugs.
Hmm.
It's probably about equal in the end, depending on how much energy you're refilling.
I'm also trying to remember the likelihood of those fire fleas dropping big energy as well. I think it's fairly high.
It is fairly high if your
Don't
power
think it's
bombs are full.
guaranteed.
If you have power bombs you need, they will drop the power bomb.
Yes.
Otherwise, their chances of drops are between big energy and nothing.
Hmm.
Well, that pirate wasn't having anything.
Also quite surprised that the reflex in that pirate room have not really been giving people much trouble either.
This hack uses the reflex, and I don't exactly know why. Those reflex in that pirate room are kind of weird.
Yeah.
The reflex later on in terrain, those at least serve more of a purpose.
Wait, are there reflex in Toria?
There are, but you don't really see them without plasma. There is one room where, when you're going to freeze Metroids, there are reflex hidden walls. So if you have plasma, your beam goes straight through the Metroid, bounces off the reflect, and hits you. And you can really tank your damage. It's the last Metroid room right before the blue side hoppers.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, and there he's filled up. Maybe we'll get... This time we'll get Node's revenge on Ridley.
Oop, took 5 damage, got a refill. It's like my OCD. Uh-oh, I used 1 missile, I got a refill.
It's all this Ridley PTSD.
Oh, I know.
And he got one super buried in the wall right there.
It's RNG manipulation. He's got the god run here.
Yep. Yeah, and there are ways to manipulate Ridley for the most part. Sometimes he still does whatever he wants to, but for the most part, there are ways to kind of make him do what you want him to.
Yeah.
Like when he's pogoing, if you do a spin jump and break out of it, almost always he will turn around and pogo the other direction afterward. or be facing the other direction. You can kind of make him continually do swoops for a period of time, depending on your jump height and where you're jumping to.
Yeah, I think we see that in Desi's original world record, where you see Ridley doing quite a fair number of swoops.
Yeah. So yeah, now he's down. Used his supers, got down to 15, so he's still working on preparing and going with the strategy right now. And remember, you have to remember, he did forget an E, and he had been practicing with an extra E tank on.
Yes.
He was not forgetting, or he was not expecting to be fighting Ridley with 100 less energy, so that's also playing a big factor into the struggles right now.
I'm trying to think where this sixth energy tank is, because obviously you've got what's the four that you run into.
There's one right at the start after Morph Ball and your missiles. I'm trying to remember where the others are. There's one before Speed Booster, or after Speed Booster.
One just before Supers.
Oh yes, in the
that's in the way. That's in the way.
Yeah. I know he went out of the way to get the spare tank in the water room.
Yeah, water boulders.
That's the extra one. There's one after Kraid.
Ah, yes, the B-Toms, yes.
Yes, that one. I think I'm still forgetting one.
So I feel any others might be a little out of the way.
So one thing I am noticing, he is not using his supers except when Ridley's pogoing. And that's probably why, because he feels like it is a lot easier to miss him. Ridley does move a lot faster. Spazer is a much wider beam.
Oh. Yikes.
So yeah, I think he would probably have a better chance if he tried using supers immediately after, not just waiting for pogos to happen. That'd probably help his chances, but he is trying to make sure he lands. It's obviously easier to do it when he's sitting on top of you. Pogos. Yeah, this is the Legacy Ridley fight.
It's awful.
It is awful. That is correct.
Bear in mind, even lower Norfair is just awful, but
yeah,
that's only the first half of it. Once you get past the worst room in the game.
Yeah, once you're past that, you're pretty okay. Gold Trees was obviously a pushover.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is he can't go and save after this because his path is blocked by Crumble Block, so he has to do this fight each time.
Yeah.
No, this is just a not fun section of this run.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be Stardust. Never again.
Wait till the next Olympics.
Oh no. Send help.
Stardust and redesign.
Axial Edition?
Definitely not Axial Edition.
Oh no, because like 3 hours of that will just be getting through Torian.
Please no. What's wrong with Stardust? There's a lot.
It's very brutal.
It has segments like Lower Norfair here. After that, it's sort of like Legacy. Things are pretty good, but
yeah, but it's so what is it? Bomb Terizo with the best room in the game.
Bomb Trees is okay, but you could die because there are spikes.
Yeah, and they're not
Phantom is the worst one.
They're not the Kraid spikes either. They are just
they're the
normal
60
spikes.
damage
spikes.
Of course they are. Why would you use spikes if you're not going to do the 60?
Well, I mean, it's a Metroid hack.
I mean, sure, they don't have an energy tank yet, but why?
Then you've got Fantoon Suitless.
Yes, and Fantoon is the run killer.
Yeah, Fantoon is always a run killer. Strangely enough, in this, he's not much of a run killer. You have gravity.
Yeah,
You
Fantoon was... so in this hack, Fantoon was meant to be the first boss.
Yes.
So his health was actually lowered by 60%.
Yeah.
It is actually not too difficult to one round Fantoon, because it takes 9 missiles and 1 super.
Yeah, so that'd be a total of 15 missiles. Because
Yeah.
I think Fantoon is the same as Ridley. He takes double damage from supers.
Yeah. So he has 1500 health, and you just do 9 missiles around. And it's not even... Like a 4 Doppler and a super is not necessarily easy, but it's not actually too difficult either. I know, I just contradicted myself majorly. One of these things I said
That's
is
Super
right.
Metroid for you. It doesn't matter whether it's a hack or whether it's the base game. It's just brutal.
And then, besides that, I mean, the run is after that isn't too terrible. There's just a lot of things you can lose time on.
Yeah, I think the other potential run killer is, much like Legacy, we're also skipping Varia, I think, for
Yes, you do skip
Stardust.
Varia.
So
Although
we do also
there-
have to be careful with damage from Brain.
Yes, but you do have 70 tanks. There are 7 like right on the way, so that's okay. You have a spare.
But I do know the Zepatite skip for that is quite interesting.
I'm trying to remember Stardust.
It doesn't have those blue platforms, so you can't just stand in front
Oh,
of it.
okay. So it's like Z Factor. Okay.
Yes.
It makes it interesting, but actually, I find that Zeb skip to be easier without the platform.
Huh.
All right, so back in Ridley.
Yeah, let's go. Easy.
Nice, 4 supers to start.
Nice. Strong start.
All right, so he's got the 5 in, so that's a third of the way just in supers to his half health.
Yep.
So you see how he's kind of spin jumping away from breaking off his spin. Ridley is consistently turning around while doing his pogo thing right now. So that is something. If he was more comfortable with Ridley in this room, he would be using that to turn him around so he's pogoing left, so he could actually get some more relatively free damage in on. But again, that's not something you really do a whole lot with when you're not when you're not as familiar with the fight or with.
Yeah, Ridley just seems to be I think it's kind of the same with Zero Missions. Ridley's just one of those bosses where if you don't know the ins and outs of Ridley, it can feel like a really random fight.
Yes,
Once you know what you're doing, it's dead simple.
it's so much easier if you've played it a lot. Snake saying Ridley's tail is sentient. Yes, his tail
That is
does throw in a
can
lot of
confirm.
problem any
Confirm.
run. It just and he's half health already. Look at
Nice. Just pump those 15 supers in.
he's got 260. This is good. This is good.
Nice. Only 6 more supers to go.
Still using the charge beam here because he's still wanting to be safe. But
Yep.
this is looking good. This is looking good.
Yeah.
I do think he should probably be trying to pump supers in to Ridley in the air, but
I also don't think there are any green
'cause, yeah,
balls
Ridley's just
in
going to
the
be
way
doing this right now.
at this point either.
Yeah, his AI is just going to do this for them. He's
I'm wondering,
there. His supers. He's starting to use his supers.
So I was just wondering if
Oh,
Ridley's
boy.
gone into
Oh, boy.
I'm just wondering
He's
if
fake swooping.
Ridley's gone into desperation. No, he's not.
I think he's dead now. He just needs to survive. No, no, he died.
No!
He
no.
was actually dead, and he got killed. That was a double KO.
No.
That was a double KO on Ridley because his tail decided no. There's a lot of things. So, one of the reasons I like Ridley a lot is his AI is very unique. Once his health is 0, he doesn't just die. He can go on indefinitely, technically. He won't, but he could. Once his health is 0, his AI just decides, oh, I guess I can die now. I'll swoop a bit.
Yeah, it goes into
Ridley
a
has
state
like
of-
this death swoop. He can do some pogo still. The way to force a death when his health is 0 is to actually get grabbed by him.
Yeah, that's what
Which he
I was about to
did.
say. During the desperation.
Yeah,
9 times out of 10, Ridley will go straight for a swoop, and
yeah.
that is
He
if
had
he
the
grabs
death.
you, he will die.
Yeah. The problem with that was his tail got. I don't know how he just got pixeled on him. So yeah, that's a brutal death.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate.
So welcome back to Gold Chorizo.
Trip down memory lane.
This is actually kind of one of the reasons I think the Olympics will be pretty interesting over. There's a lot of different things mixed in, a lot of different skills required, and not a whole lot of time to practice. Obviously, everyone has a real life outside of this, so that's going to affect things. But there's a lot of different, different skills, different techniques, different things you want to learn. So trying to find a balance of what you're comfortable with in a run. I know like Bethers was doing a completely different route to try and make things a little safer. Nod wanted to go faster, so he went with the speedrun route, but he still went and collected the safety tank, which unfortunately just got him back to where he was. So he needs to collect one of those supers. So there's a lot of different strategizing that'll be going into it.
Because I know on the first week there was quite a bit of quite a lot of digression, different routing.
Now, Spooky Mission, I think, was a pretty good safe opening. You could go fast. It is not too difficult. I mean, there's obviously still some pain
Metroids.
points, but it was a fairly safe opening act.
Yeah.
With Event 2, Legacy just kind of takes that and threw it out the window. It's like now there's definitely a punishment for not going the speed route, but the speed route could make you end up doing this.
Yeah.
So where's the trade-off? What are you wanting to? And that's kind of the strategizing that I think will be really interesting to, as the Olympics go on, to see.
Yeah.
You know, how do people do some?
Because I think in Spooky Mission, the only real route deviation there would be, do people do Charlie first and then go to Pumpkin, or do they go to Pumpkin and...
Ouch. He turned around before shooting the pirate.
Yeah, for this we did see a lot of route deviation.
Yep. So yeah, and another thing with this is, Node knows he's the last one now, and he's probably, a little tilted with Ridley by now, especially after that last fight. I mean, he had him, and one of the sad things is there's an E-tank right after. So after Ridley, you're pretty safe, and that's just There's a lot conspiring to make this not not go well for.
I think what could possibly make this worse. I hope it really doesn't happen, because Node, I think, has gone through enough with lower Norfair. But the path to the E-Tank has fire pillars.
Yes.
And
There's
read,
a red key hunter and fire pillars.
yeah. Although hopefully that shouldn't really be the case, because Ridley can drop some energy, so it shouldn't boil down to that.
It shouldn't.
No.
I really hope
think
it
they
does.
I don't think the pillars do enough damage to kill. Like, I think it's still, what is it, 30, 40 damage?
Yeah,
it's negligible. But
there's a possibility, but I don't want to think about that. Realizes he needs to get his super.
yeah, that's the only problem with getting health bombed and using supers in Gold Torizo is you do need to farm off those rippers.
Yeah, which thankfully they have a really high super. Right?
Yeah, isn't it almost guaranteed if you don't have supers?
Yeah, but they're pretty much one of the. They're like the fire fleas and power bombs. If you're missing them, they're pretty much going to always give you a super. Need it. Which is kind of surprising with the way supers drops work, which is real. I would say very much hacky. It doesn't make much sense to me.
It's something. Trying to explain it is a bit awkward.
So let's say first, he'll get his revenge on the pirates here, and then we'll get some revenge on Ridley.
Yeah, it's not getting in at first.
He's definitely being a little tilted right now. You can kind of see when some mistakes are being made that.
Yeah, you see the
aren't
frustration
normally
starting to kick in.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Legacy's one of the couple of runs that could really trigger this. Any of them could on the right day, but this one in particular, this area is not friendly to psychologists. They would not recommend.
Beginning to wonder just how many roadblocks there's going to be once we get around to Hyper.
Yeah, well, I'm not as familiar with that run, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'll need to
I
brush
do
up
know
on that too.
there are some pretty advanced things to get gravity, which involves some ammo stuff, so we'll see what happens with that. Alright, going back in. If you notice, he doesn't even refill his missiles. Not a big deal. It takes 3 missiles to do a charge shot, so
Yeah,
missiles pretty worthless on Ridley, honestly.
it's certainly not worth going out of your way to farm for them. Like, if you
Yeah.
have plenty of them off the bat, then I'd say go ahead. But say if you're low on them, then there's not much reason to farm for them.
Yeah. Not for this fight. Now, for Dragon, they're a little useful. This one,
Yeah.
not so much. So Ridley seeming to... Oh, well, never mind. I started talking about Ridley, and he said no.
He knows.
He's just doing what Ridley does.
No, I don't think we should really blame Ridley entirely for this. If anything, we should blame is the tail.
The
Tail is disgusting.
you
Changed
get
my
rid of the
mind.
tail on Ridley, and I don't think anybody ever has an again. So there, he got him to turn around, and now he'll make a turn. He broke him out of the pogo entirely, so Ridley's trying to go back into it, but Node's being a bit too
Cautious?
cautious, yes. Which is understandable at this point. This is probably, what, the 10th try on Ridley?
I'm afraid to say I have lost count.
I don't think he would like us to give the actual count, so I think it's alright.
No, I think that's something that's best left forgotten, and I wouldn't blame him.
Oh, half health? 256? And yeah,
256,
once...
nice number.
Hey, that's 100 in hex.
Yeah, it's a nice...
Oh,
Don't you-
not anymore.
In hex, what? Oh, yeah,
256?
100 in hex. Yeah,
FF is
sorry.
55, yeah.
I'm done, don't worry.
He is not even firing supers and tanking half his health already. That's not good.
My defense,
and
MST, I have been too far away from Metroid hacking to remember hexadecimal.
Look, I only know 255 is FF. That's...
Yeah,
You ask me anything else, I'd be like,
I just had a brain fart moment, that's all.
So yeah, and he was not left enough on that ledge to avoid the grab. You see, this part, I do feel he is being really way too safe. He needs to try with the supers a lot quicker. Again, though, he's definitely a little tilted. He's just waiting for the Ridley release to happen. And then everything will go fine. And something to note is he is also aware that his low time score has dropped. So just by finishing this event, he could still get a max score off this. If this ends up being his low time.
As a refresher, what was the low time or the slow time for
For Legacy, let me check. I believe it was 180 or 150 minutes. So 2.5 hours. Let me see. Legacy. So yeah, 2.5 hours.
Okay.
Which currently it'll be 2.5 hours before he beats this Ridley. If he beats it this time.
Yeah, he'll finish the game in 3.5 minutes, easy. Still get within the time frame.
But no, for finishing, he'll still get 10 points,
Yeah.
which means
Yes.
that will put pressure on him later to not have this happen in any other run. Hopefully not suffer on the struggle bus too much.
Well, let's just hope that the Super Metroid randomizer doesn't give him this much trouble.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the next... Oh, no, sorry, we also got Y Faster.
Yeah. Rogue Dawn, why faster?
I'll be pretty interested to see how Y Faster plays out, because I have yet to see what that looks like done fast.
There...
I mean, it's called Y Faster. Yeah, you've got 1 hour to do it, but...
Yeah, we'll see what the actual times are for that, but from I have looked at a run before. It starts out pretty painful.
Mhm.
But that one thankfully starts out that way. Whereas, this Ridley's kind of right in the middle.
Yeah.
20% through, you have the stupid green gate. And then like 45% through now, you've got Ridley. Then you're pretty okay until Mother Brain.
Yeah.
Why faster? Basically, the first 10% of just suffering. Nice. Pirates?
Yeah, I've got the drop on them.
Watch him first try Ridley here.
First try after... How many tries?
First try on this reloaded save. Is loading up a little more on missiles there. Maybe he was just checking to make sure something else was. So, Ridley, I don't think we've mentioned him yet. He can be a little bit of a pain. I think, thankfully, one of the nice things with this hack is it does give you screw attack before Ridley. Otherwise, this would be an absolute disaster.
Oh, yeah. With the change in environment as well. I don't even want to think of doing this type of Ridley fight without screw attack.
Alright, so he's pogoing, and he's a little scared. He's not fully letting himself see what Ridley's doing before he's committing himself to going ahead and trying to alter what Ridley's doing. That's causing some issues here. Because yeah, he's gotten pogoing and turning around, but then he did a spin jump, broke out again, which turned him around again. So yeah, and this is just some of the knowledge and skill that's not readily apparent when you're playing. Ridley is often, for casual players, considered the hardest boss in the game. And for pretty good reason, but there's a lot of unknown factors that go into him that, see, like that, he had the perfect pogo set up and he's jumping again.
At least Ridley has changed colors, so
He has.
he is within kill range.
He does. Again, he's being very, very safe with the supers. One got ate by the tail there. Two got ate by the tail.
That's just it.
It's not
There's another one that just got chomped up by the tail.
Yeah, it's not the end. You could still overcome that.
Yeah.
But it just makes things slightly more. Just means you've got to hit him a couple extra times with your beam. And that was kind of...
Ooh.
Oh, and he's typing in Race Channel here. He says this is his last attempt at Ridley.
I think there is only so long that any person would be able to put up with Ridley, especially in this kind of circumstance where bad environment.
Yeah, I mean, and
Spacer.
this is just a disgusting room. This fight is disgusting at this.
Yeah.
So if we put a poll up for hacks to include next Bix, I don't think this one will make very far.
But I think we'd have to curate that poll, because otherwise you might get some pretty meme-tic entries.
He's trying
It's a
to...
bit of an in-joke with the community Chris and a Homanag seems to exist.
And he's trying to manipulate Gold Teresa. Gold Teresa is not having this.
Yeah.
Gold Teresa is saying no. You've been playing with Ridley. I want my time.
Please notice me, senpai.
There's more than one boss in Lower Norfair. They want some screen time. Oh, he's fine now. Yeah, he's good. So yeah, also a little known fact about Gold Teresa. If you have less than 25 missiles, he won't do his swoop attack with the gold things he shoots out.
Yeah, akin to what Bomb Teresa does, but
yeah,
GT does it much faster. But no, I've never really known the specific limit. Like, is that the max missile count, or is that?
I think 25 is the max. If you have 26, you'll start.
I think perhaps what I'm trying to get at is it based on your maximum cap, or is it based on how many you have at the time?
That I don't know. I think it's I don't think it's the max. I think it's the number you have on. I could be very wrong about that. I'm not the expert on this.
Something worth looking at.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Made it out of there. All right, so this is gonna go down, grab the super. And again, he said this is his last attempt on this.
And watch him get it easy. Just nail it.
He'll end the fight with energy tanks. He's gonna be so mad. I see nothing wrong with this room tiling. One tile. We'll put a fire flea effect on it to make it do something. Back in 2006, this was, the peak. Exactly what Tia used.
Yeah. At the same time, though, back in 2006, we did have a lot less knowledge of Smile, which is what was used to make this hack.
And a much older version of it as well.
Yes. A lot has improved over the years, and a lot more documentation. So
yeah.
We now got some pretty sick-looking rooms in more
People
modern
make
entries.
all kinds of.
And even just Room of the Month isn't a testament to some of the stuff we can do.
I mean, and I hate to say it, but even some of the GBA droids look good.
Are you saying that Zero Mission's a good game?
No, Zero Mission's the worst Metroid game. That includes Other M and Federation Force. But they can still make it look good.
I mean, Spooky Mission, right?
Spooky Mission is legitimately... It's also a really fun speedrun. If you're interested in learning some hacks, Spooky Mission is a great start. A lot of fun stuff in that one. Unlike this. All right, last refill before we.
Yep.
Couple more supers. Which bugs are deciding they don't carry in stock? Oh, there they go. Supers are almost like toilet paper now.
You would go there, wouldn't you?
No, by the time people watch this, this is
They'll be wondering, yeah, what are we?
what is he talking about?
Toilet paper? What?
Somebody in 10 years comes back and watches it. What? All right, so Ridley again. Yeah, definitely being safe still. And one of the most irritating things I find, once he decides to go into the pogo thing, it's very hard to break him out of that. So if you don't want him to pogo, like it's safest if he's just doing a swoop from right to left, left to right. He swoops down, goes back up. That's the safest spot. So you can just screw attack through him, over him, get a shot in. It's slow, but very safe. Once he decides to pogo, it's very hard to break him out of that and get him back into swooping until he's finished pogo. And he'll never finish pogoing if you're trying to get him to swoop. It's very irritating. Alright, so yeah, you see Ridley, he's just he's wants to pogo. He's like, just stop. I'm doing what you want. I'm turning around for you. Stop. I want to pogo. He's just not doing what Node wants him to do right now. Ridley really does not care.
Gonna have to get a hold of the hack author, see if they can delete Ridley from the hack.
Oh, there's the halfway point. 264 energy.
There's the phase change.
And
Energy's
you see
also
Ridley
pretty
turned
light.
around so late that he got hit by the tail because Ridley hates you.
Well,
Yeah, he's still using his beam here. He should switch over.
yeah, you
He really needs to.
did start getting Ridley to pogo, so
Here
I
we
think this would
go.
be a good spot to start wailing away with
Good,
super.
good. Okay. He did miss one super, but Ridley is. Oh, alright. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh no.
Oh no.
No!
Ridley, please. Oh.
Rude. Rude. Ridley, please. Please. That's dreadful. That's dreadful.
And that is a forfeit from Node Ever, unfortunately. And there we go. Unfortunate end. Ridley being a massive roadblock. It's really unfortunate, but Ridley claimed me right away and decided to stick it out, and Ridley still claimed another victim this round.
Yeah. Shame.
It's unfortunate, but GG's to Node for trying.
Yeah.
It looks like he's getting ready to join us here, so
Hello?
Hello.
Leonard.
Hi.
Ridley sucks.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Because it looked like the rest of the run was at least going pretty alright.
It was. Up until Lower Norfair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really think I have to tell you about that. I think we're all well aware. Just that was the point. Which it didn't even go that bad in my practice. I don't know what happened today. But I think
So-
you get to a point mentally where you keep failing and then eventually you just you just mentally kind of are checked
Yeah.
out even if you want to keep going.
Yeah.
Just
I do have to ask. Did you realize you killed him the one time?
yeah, that one time when I screamed in the chat.
And he grabbed you, and
Yeah.
then you got killed by his tail.
Yeah, I did. Well, I don't know, because Safi was saying he didn't think that Ridley actually killed me right there. But I was pretty sure I did.
Yeah, he was going. He was dead. He had grabbed you, and then You died.
Yeah, I know. That was maybe the most upsetting part of the entire run. Cause it got my hopes up. That was very brutal. And I just I'll have to practice more next time. I didn't practice enough this time, I will say that.
Well, luckily Rogue Dawn's Ridley is easy. You just
It's the freest fight you'll get in the Olympics.
That is good.
that'll be payback for this run.
Yes, that will be very much appreciated.
Yeah. So no, this does kind of put you in a bind now. You know, the time score was going to be dropped anyway because you weren't getting a time score at this point.
Yeah.
But you're also losing a finishing score here, so you're down 5 more points on your potential total.
Yep.
So, I guess that being said, kind of do you think might be a strategy going forward as trying to maybe practice something further on in advance that's not coming up next if you're a little more comfortable? Or
definitely practicing more in advance, and I guess I need to make sure I make it to both races, basically. Like this time I couldn't, and it was just not good. I should have at least been practicing more that week, because basically I was like, I know I'm going to be busy this weekend, so I didn't practice as much as I should have anyway.
Right.
Like, yeah, which was a mistake.
Yeah, my lack of practice caused me to probably forfeit this week too.
Yeah. Legacy kind of was a killer for a lot of people. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, I guess lessons learned from all of us, I'm sure.
Yep.
Practice helps, especially for big hacks like this, because going from spooky mission, it's like you don't have to practice as much for that one. So you get overconfident. You're like, oh, this ain't gonna take.
This isn't that bad.
Yeah. Then you try Legacy, and you spend literally like 2/3 of the run just in Lower Norfair, which is what I just did, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty sure it only took like an hour to get to Lower. We just spent an extra like hour and 4 minutes.
So
which was fun.
Now that we're through this, we got one GBA droid, one super down. We're going to Nestroid next. I know you haven't played Rogue Dawn itself, but are you familiar at all with Nestroid at all?
Not really.
Oh, this should be fun.
I played Metroid Planets. I played the Metroid one in there, but that's about it. Which, I mean, that's better than nothing, but definitely not ideal.
So do you think you might spend a little more time overall practicing Nestroid than I would say, like, something like Y Faster or Zero Mission for the randomizer that's coming up?
I'm not sure, because honestly, I haven't really speedrun to any of these Metroid games, which may or may not be obvious. So I'm kind of just in the same situation for all of them at the moment. Like for Cookie Mission, I had to get familiar with Mission a lot more. For this, I had to get familiar with speedrunning Super Metroid a lot more, which I already knew some of the techniques, but I still, I've had a lot to learn, and it's going to be the same for Nestroid, really.
I mean, and I hope you don't mind me saying, but that is somewhat apparent between more experienced runners and then maybe someone of your level. It's not as experienced with kind of manipulating Ridley.
Yeah.
Because I know you were getting advice in the chat about that. You obviously experience didn't help me either, so whatever.
I feel like bosses are what I struggle the most on, I think. Because usually in these games, the bosses, when you play just a playthrough, they're not really like a problem at all, so you barely even pay attention to them.
You're collecting items.
Really, actually, I kind of struggled on him the first time I played, but it's much different when you're in like a speedrun and you don't have nearly as much equipment. You have to be really careful. Very punishing. Just
and the terrain of this particular Ridley is not fun either.
Yeah. Yeah, all the boss patterns are just learning for me. Kind of had to learn the ZM bosses too, but they are easier.
Their AI is a lot less. I should say a lot less complicated. Although Spooky Mission, they're pretty much glass cannons, so they die pretty quick. So
Yeah.
Not much with their AI to learn because they'll be dead quick.
Actually, I think
Yeah.
the ZM bosses are pretty squishy. Full stop. Like Kraid takes 3 or 4 supers. Ridley, Ridley has probably the most health. Brain dies in 7 supers. Iron Ted dies. That's Mega Ridley. Dies in 3 or 4 supers.
Yeah.
Most of them are fairly trivial.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think Super in general is a lot more technical than the other games. There's a lot more different tricks and things, ways
Yeah.
to lose time or gain time than
Yeah.
the others. So that in itself, and then on top of that, the bosses are a little more complicated. You can lose a lot of time on them just by making mistakes. You can have half of those energy down and still 5 rounds.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, maybe while I'm learning, I'm gonna need to be more careful. Like, use more Pikmin strats.
Well, here's another question. Then do you think it in a future? I know Y Faster Than X Supers, that might not be a good one, but in for future Super Metroid events, do you think you might spend more time with the bosses versus the route? Just kind of get like a basic route, and then just try to figure out the bosses with the ammo energy you expect to have at that point.
Yeah, because I can do routes pretty well. Like, I did pretty well navigating the world even in this race, even though I had not practiced as much as I should have, but it was really the bosses that kind of got me. But, well, I guess to some extent the world did too in Lower North.
Well,
The game.
well, Lower Warfare is not fun in this half.
Yeah,
It
Not
is
with this route.
it's not.
But no, seriously, GG's for that. Obviously,
you.
didn't end the way you either of us wanted to.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys all sticking around.
Yeah.
I know it's.
We'll be seeing you in the next event, which is, of course, Rogue Dawn.
Yes,
And
I will be there.
I will say tomorrow, I do plan on doing a kind of overview stream for Rogue Dawn. Kind of go over the route, some basic tricks to try and help people out.
All right, yeah, I'll definitely either attend that or watch the.
And otherwise, did you have anything to finish up with, TAU? Or any other questions? Ask him everything!
I don't know, my mind's drawing a blank with questions.
Alright, well, I think that should just about do it. We've already gone over the scores. Nottingham getting the 5 points for starting. So he's not going home empty-handed for all that suffering.
Yes, I should have just did what Connor did. At this point,
Would have saved you 2.5 hours.
Yeah, sunken cost fallacy and all that.
Yeah. Yep. So
Yeah, Ridley was just being rude.
He was.
yeah. GG's to everyone, to our finishers, Pikmin, Saffron, who again just did his first run at 3 a.m. this morning. Okay. But yeah, we may not have a stream next week. There might be one, but probably not. The week after, we most likely will have a practice stream going.
Okay.
Or a practice race, I should say, for this first week. We'll maybe try and get people familiar with it a little bit, and then we'll actually do a practice race. And that is something else we should mention. Legacy, we didn't have any practice races.
I think that's part of why everyone was like.
I think that hurt people.
Yeah, I think that legit did, because just having that structure kind of helps, like, to where everyone's like, "Oh, I guess I have to practice because we're having a practice race."
Yeah,
But
I
also
think
consider that a lot of people weren't able to attend these practice races either, so that kind of didn't help either. But
yeah, I think the length of the hack really kind of prohibited some people.
Mm-hmm.
I dread hypo if that may be the case.
If that's the case in Hyper, we'll have probably a similar situation.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
But no, we'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll definitely try and get some practice races in for Rogue Dawn. So again, if you aren't following the MetConst channel here, please go ahead and do so. The events will definitely be getting 3 streams. Try and get some practices going as well. And again, if you ever want to join in races, definitely feel free to. The actual scoring is reserved for the people who did enter the Olympics beforehand, but you can still race along. We encourage people to do that, maybe get some interest in that, and maybe joining next time. Oh, and also, for all that, please give Note a follow.
Like and
Go watch his stream.
Thank you. Yes, you will be very entertained by that level of quality.
And also for TAU for being our lone commentator today for the most part.
Yeah.
That's with 4 people. It's not an easy thing to do. So no, with that, I think we'll stop the stream. Probably find a channel to raid here. So we'll see you at the next event.